So I'll just do how I know these guys. So for me, knowing these guys, I'm originally from Layton and Leytonstone. So I grew up in Layton, used to move around Leytonstone, particularly an estate we called Cathall Estate, the Bronx, in Leytonstone. So I got into it in the mid-80s, as the guys as well, as a youngster. I was really too young to get into the big boy clubs, but I was very much into my hip-hop music, so I used to buy music and do house parties mainly around Cathall Estate, in the youth club, in the flats, wherever we could get a flat for the night, we would bring our sound system and do something. So any story, any floor, any flat we could get, any youth club we can get. How I met Busy was where I was moving more around Leytonstone at this time, towards the late 80s. I got told that there's another DJ making music. This would have been, I think, 89. And there was a few of my friends in Cathall Estate that was like, "Now you need to meet another guy that's making music and DJ music like what you're DJing." And I was like, "No, in this estate, I'm the only DJ playing this." I was that, you know, mate. You run teams. Yeah, me run teams around there. But they would say, no. There's another guy. You need to meet him. He's into the music just like you. So I don't know if you was living in Cathall Estate at that time, but something wants to tell me 5th floor.
Yeah, I was living there then. That was 145 Holly that way.
Right, there you go. So my brethren at the time, Warren, was on the 2nd floor, and it was them that was saying, "No, there's a guy upstairs. Come, I'm gonna knock on his door." And just so he knocked on his door, and it was like, "Yeah, this is other guy." Yeah, I mean, and I remember you looked out the window. You know, you could open the window.
Wait, that was Steve Dredd's yard then. I was staying there.
Steve Dredd.
Yeah, there you go. So I don't. At that point, I didn't actually know you then.
That's not 145. 145 was Sharky, innit?
Yeah.
Right,
No, I used to live there.
All I knew that they said, "You need to see what you do. There's another guy that does that. You need to go and meet him. He's upstairs." They took me and they knocked on the door, and I just remember you opened the window and looked down like that, and he was like, "Who's it? Look." But cut a long story short, from then, the next time I met up with you was on Windsor Road.
Right.
So you was in Windsor Road now, and I don't know whether it was just I was pestering you. Yeah, you said, "All right, come round, come." Yeah, because at that particular time, I was DJing hip-hop, breaks, and then it was like, as I say, late 80s, the music was kind of going like, it was dance, as Roy said earlier, it was dance music, yeah? And how I was DJing, I was fairly confident in, but making music, how I was making music, it wasn't by using a computer. How I was making music was by recording breakbeat samples on a tape. So I pressed play and record 5-second loop and press pause and then play it back. So I was recording like samples, beats on a tape deck and then play it back. That was my tune. And then Busy, "That's not how you make the tune. How you make the tune, you need to do something will show me." So anyway, he finally allowed me to go to Windsor Road to have a look how they really make the tunes, because how they were making tunes, as I was making the tunes, that's not how we do. So I remember going down, and my first thing I remember going to Busy's house was I had to wait until it was safe to even go into your house, because Busy had some dogs, yeah? Right? Was it Rebel?
Rebel.
And Rizla. The most dangerous dogs ever, yeah? So that was the first thing. It was like, if you can get past the dogs, you can get into the studio. So I managed to get down in the studio, and like, bearing in mind I'd never built a tune at this point. I just wanted to. I knew what I wanted to do, but I hadn't done it yet. So that Roy was in the room. Yeah, this is where I first met Roy. I heard about Roy and the radio and everything, because it was around there as well, like Layton.
Top of the road,
yeah. So And I remember the guy saying, well, what can you do? So I was like, well, do you know what I mean? And I was like, Busy was like, bill a beat, can you bill a beat? And I was like, yeah, go on. And then I was like, oh, come on. Then there was like a DJ, and then these two made me DJ in front of them, yeah, and scratch tunes. And I felt like I was on an audition. I felt like I was being, you know. But after, long and short, after I played a couple of tunes, they was like, no, it's all right, we can work with that, yeah. So I kind of just started following Busy around in the studio. I think the first time I saw a tune being made using the Amiga was, you had done the USO Bletsky, and you was doing like a 6-track EP, Hardcore Volume 1. Yeah, so Busy was in the process of making this Hardcore Volume 1. So I was allowed to stay in the studio while he was making the tune, and the tune that you made in my company was a tune on that EP called That's the Mirror.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so the tune That's the Mirror, like I was trying to say, well, try this sample, try that sample, and I got to see how we were using the sample breaks, making a track using the Amiga. I straight away went out and bought an Amiga. So it used to be a thing for me. I would go around and see Busy. Now I've got an Amiga. I think it was Amiga 500 we was using. We hadn't quite migrated to 12, so we was using Amiga 500s. I'd build a beat, take it to Busy's house. He'd say, no, go back, finish that. Yeah, finish that or do it. So he was also my quality control as well. So I was billing beats. Every now and then Busy would say, yeah, that one's ready. Boom, we're going to take that. So by then I'd kind of met Roy, TDK. We was also doing a couple of events by then as well. We was getting like Highlands Gym, Solid Groove, Highlands Gym, the Dungeons. Wherever we could get a venue, we kind of built our own kind of like network of things, because as the guys have mentioned, you've got like you've got to also factor in, it's not like today, our scene was you had only a certain amount of clubs and a certain amount of opportunities, and with those clubs there's only a certain amount of DJs, certain amount, you know what I mean?
Other than the like little pubs that
so if you weren't doing your own events, your own radio, your own studio, your own this, and then if we do an event, we're gonna book ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So I grew within that, and there was a few more guys that say that's how I got to meet like Swift and Zinc, Persian Prince,
Format FM.
There was Technochild, Equinox. Do you know what I mean? And then I think the other thing that kind of joined us together, us and other people, was when I found out different songs that I was playing were made on a Commodore Amiga as well. That was the other thing as well, because I think back then it was kind of like Atari ST.
Might want to dip her.
Yeah. I suppose it's the same thing like, well, not so much now, but PC and Mac. Do you use a PC? Do you use a Mac? I think then there was Atari ST.
It was either the Atari or
Amiga. And then when we heard, oh, that person made that tune on an Amiga, and it kind of like, this can really happen. So yeah, I made my first tune, co-produced with Busy.
Where were you getting your? Sorry, it's okay. Where were you getting your samples from?
I'm going to tell you where I was getting my samples from. You see, with the Amiga, it can take its own sounds. Yeah, I never had the keyboards and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what I did. We used to go to the newsagents, and there used to be these music magazines. I forget what the music magazine was.
Future Music.
Future Music would have a CD attached to the outside. And those CDs would have all the demos of all the equipment. So I didn't have all the keyboards myself, but Future Music had the demos. So I would just sample a lot of the sounds from there. I would take things from reggae sound tapes, vinyl, kung fu films, wherever, like just any noise. I think Take a Deep Breath was a meditation CD.
Hypnosis, yeah.
It was a hypnosis. Yeah, you never actually explained why you had the hypnosis CD, but
I mean, like, because I was enjoying from the relaxation of the hypnosis, because I actually did get into it, like,
so
imagine your body relax.
So we made that out of that. So we was wherever we could get samples from. But I think a point that I wanted to just make sure that I get across with the Amiga, because the Amiga had no sounds itself, and the softwares that we were using had no sounds itself. Every sound that's on there, you had to put it on there. And any sound, you had to make it sound like that. Unlike today's software, it's all there. It comes with like a terabyte of sounds, all presets. It's got beats already on it. You just switch it on and go. And
But it's still about what's up here.
But I do think the creativeness of it's a blank canvas.
It's not the size of the boat, it's the motion involved.
I knew he was going to come with that, I knew he was going to come with that. You know what? I've been sitting here all day, man. I've been thinking to myself, it's got to come with that. You're crazy to really have. And he did.
That's what I found. I found that creatively, now I'm going back to making music in a format that is more conducive to the way I produce. But I found over the years, as the technology it's improved to make things easier. You know, your workflow should be easy. It shouldn't take you as long as it does. You know, as you said, it will take you ages to do something on there. Now you can just go and it's done. I do think sometimes it does take away your creativity. I found if you listen to the Brain Stuff 91, 2 and 3, listen to the Brain Stuff in as we get closer to Joker, it's more simplified.
Simplicity is, because back then it had to be simple. You've got 4 tracks of audio, you've got 12 seconds sample time, and you've got to make it work within that time. So you know, it's like old films versus new films. The old films got more of a storyline. The new films got more special effects, but sometimes the storyline's not as good.